again, that's impressive. That's 46%. I'm getting a 46% lift when I engage in promotion. You tell me anything else that gives you a 46% boost in sales. I'll buy it. I mean, that's impressive. This is how promotion is measured. And again, I'm not kidding. Unless you've read my paper and unless you've had the class, then you're probably doing it this way. I gave this presentation that we started out with at it was either eBay or Adobe, one of those two companies, big company, and this is exactly how they did it. That's what they told me. And this is a room full of PhDs. And this is a high-tech company in the heart of Silicon Valley, downtown San Jose. And they said, yeah, we just wrote W. That's our measure. Okay, it was supposed to be a 45-minute presentation, turned into a 2.5-hour Q&A. All right, so we did that. Let's see, table. Yeah, we don't need to export this. Put some labels on it. Put some monthly labels. Is monthly on there? I guess it is. Let's look at a graph. As I said, you almost never want to present regression results, but this is a picture of lift. This is promotional, promoted and non-promoted volume by month. And we can see that in some months you're going to get a much bigger lift than in other months. So this is a simple bar chart. I think I did a better looking one. So this I used, there's a simple as Y variables, and what it does is it kind of adds those colors to it, which to me looks better. But in all honesty, I'd probably be doing this in Excel because the colors are even nicer. And we can again put some numbers on there. We can see that promotion, we sell more on promotion than off promotion. Duh, we know that. The problem is we're confounding the effects of price with promotion. Notice that we got some awkward results here. This is slightly lower, so we're selling slightly less on promotion than off promotion. The problem with that is the nature of data. Remember, this is week-ending data, so in January, we're probably getting spillover effects from Christmas, because Christmas is late December, so depending on what day of the week, it's always going to be the 25th. Yeah, the 25th. What is the other one? Thanksgiving, what day is that?
It's the third Thursday.
It's the third, so it's not a date, it's a day. Okay, but in Christmas I know that one. Depending on what day it is, it can get carried over into the next month. So this doesn't bother us. This really doesn't bother us because we know it's kind of an anomaly of the data, or an artifact of the data collection process. So this isn't saying that promotion is bad in January. It's saying that some of those sales are carried over from December. Okay, but that's a great picture. And this is, again, probably how 99% of the promotion is analyzed, at least in the wine industry. It's going to be 100%, except for maybe Mike at Delcato. But this is how, 99 to 100% of the analytics are going to be done. There's our promotional lift. This difference is our lift. Done. We're going to move on to the next project. Any questions? You just have a concerned look on your face. You're shaking your head as in, how can we be so stupid, or how can the industry be so stupid, or?
No questions.
No? Am I wrong though? Is this how we measure lift? Have you ever done it?
Not yet, no.
No? But this is, yeah, like I said, I've presented this plenty of places, and I've actually done this for companies to try to accurately measure their lift. And outside of me doing it on a small consulting basis in Sonoma County, this is how it gets done 99% of the time. Even Treasury, who gave me the impetus to start this whole project, I did it for them once, and it's brilliant. You're a super smart guy. Talk to you later. Yeah, so
We're
it's
gonna keep doing it wrong.
exactly. We do things this way because we've always done things this way, and everyone else does it this way. So this is how Nielsen does it. They pay Nielsen to do their promotion analytics. This is how IRI does it. This is how all the other consultants are going to do it, except for again, maybe me and Mike going over at Elcott. So this is a pretty big deal in that we've kind of pushed the envelope of analytics. We actually have a new way of doing things. You're welcome. All right, here's kind of a little bit better, or at least a different look. These are box plots. You know, kind of seeing the difference between promoted and non-promoted volume across month. I like box plots because they show more of a distribution of the change as opposed to kind of just the absolute value of the change. You know, we can see here that these are kind of overlapping, so promotion really doesn't have much of an effect. In fact, it technically may have a negative effect if you just look at the mean, as well as the median, because the median is lower. But the range, the interquartile range is different. But on average, we see that red box, the promoted box, is above that of the blue box, which is the non-promoted box. And according to my do file, that's nice, but I have a better one. I have a not better one. And this is just using those that as y variable again. Option. Over, yeah. This as y variable option. It's pretty nice. If you got that visual guide to statistics, whatever it is, the stated book. You can get all these little tricks down. So this is a little bit nicer. And again, at least, you know, from my opinion, 99% of the value that we do is being able to present our analytical results, whether it's regression or not regression. So good visualizations, which is what we're going to use Tableau, please. But essentially the same picture. And again, this is how things are done. So, you know, I always tell people, all right, do what you're told, do what you're asked to do. Your boss tells you, you know, measure promotion this way, then say, okay, here's what you asked for. Here are some improvements. You don't want to say, like I do, this is why you're wrong, to your boss. You know, this you could say, look, you know, here. We're ignoring the fact that we're lowering price, and that's causing price to increase also. And then say, well, can you figure it out? As a matter of fact, I can. There's a method to do it. And okay. Let's see. Not variable. Not variable. Here I just sirens again. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell the the sirens or just a whistling in the end?
You didn't hear anything?
I hear.
You did? I thought I heard it too. Okay. All right, no more fire jokes. What we did, all we're doing here is putting in the dummies, interacting them with our promotional dummy. So in essence, all we're doing is this graph. We're quantifying this graph. In other words, this looks good. It looks like a lift, but technically we don't know if that difference in sales, the 1605 and the 2217, we don't know if that difference is statistically significant. So what we can do, like we do anything, is like we do almost everything, is run a regression. So when we run a regression, so remember these numbers, we should be able to, 1787 for January and 1767 goes down 20 cases for promoted. So 1787 and 1767. When we run our regression, we should get the same results. Remember, the constant is when we set all of the independent variables to 0, we're left with the constant. So when we set all of the months to 0, the month that's omitted is going to be the constant. And when we set promo to 0, promo is 1 if promoted, 0 if non-promoted. So the constant, this should be cases sold in January off promotion, which is what the bar graph tells us, 1786. Now, we know in January that cases actually went down by 20 units, roughly 20 units. So again, set January is the omitted category, the omitted month. So when all these are equal to 0 and all those are equal to 0, we're left with just D promo, which would be the effect of promotion in January. And we know that it decreases case volume by roughly 20 cases per week. But that difference is not statistically significant. That's the t-step. Small t, big P, not statistically significant. What we can see, however, is that excuse me, our promoted lifts are all statistically significant. So other than January, every month has a statistically significant increase in sales. This is a relatively easy way of testing for statistical significance. So when we look at that picture, we can say that yes, all of these lifts are statistically significant. All right. I'm at the point of no return. Literally no return. I can't return anything else. We're going to see what happens. We'll see how the conference keeps me.
Terrible.
What's that?
That's terrible.
It is terrible. What do I do? Look at my car. Well, they stick some grin in my face.
24 hours.
We'll know that. Okay. We can break this down by Chardonnay and Cab. We do the same things for that. And this was actually a pretty interesting insight into the data also. So here is Chardonnay. I'm sorry, this is Cabernet Sauvignon. And we see the seasonality where the peaks are at the end of the year, October, November, December, OND. And the trough is in the summer months. Red wine, we drink white wine in the summer. At least some people do. I drink red wine year round. I try not to discriminate. I don't like
All wines matter.
hold on. I stopped drinking white wine in high school.
So much sugar.
But I was 21 in high school.
Well, you're just drinking the wrong white wines.
Yeah, we were drinking that horrible white Zenith.
Yeah, that's not white or red,
That's-
that's just not right.
Well, that's what, you know, honestly.
From a
that's-
box.
That's what chicks drank in high school, so.
No, wine coolers,
Yeah, and then we had, you're right, we had, that was the.
Bartles and James.
The start of Bartles and James.
Who?
Yeah, it was. And that in itself is an interesting story because there was a glut of wine and I think it was Gallo decided to, what are we gonna do with this wine? We'll mix it with some fruit punch or fruit juice. And they came up with Bartles and James. So I actually wrote a paper on the Bartles and James.
That would be interesting to read.
It's, yeah, it was pretty interesting. I basically wanted to see if wine coolers are a gateway to wine consumption. So if I start drinking wine coolers, will I transition into wine? Or is it just, because most younger people drink beer, right? So, or is it just, or does it have no kind of gateway effect?
Wine cooler, the gateway drug. Next on 60 Minutes.
Well, that's literally the title of the paper, I think, is Our Wine Cooler the Gateway to Wine. I think that's the title. It's been for so long, I think it's our paper. But here's Chardonnay, and you could see that there is the holiday boost, not as prominent, but we also get the boost in the summer months where people are drinking Chardonnay during the summer. All these are going to factor into the effects of promotion because promotion is going to differ by month, it's going to differ by varietal, and we know it's going to differ by price. So these are all things that we should account for when we're doing our decomposition. Which makes for measuring the effects of promotion that much more fascinating because there's so much heterogeneity among red and whites, among months, and then across prices. So it's going to depend. What's the return on promotion? It depends. What are you talking about? All right. So let's see. One step forward could be something like this. Eventually, we'll acknowledge that price is good. So this is just a table of promoted and non-promoted sales by month. And we can see that for every month, the promoted price is less than the non-promoted price. So again, at least from what I could find, I was unable to find a situation in which promoted price wasn't less than non-promoted price. It's kind of like belts and suspenders. You want to make sure the promotion works, so I'm going to lower price to make sure the promotion works. Well, yeah, but then that's not a promotion, that's price reduction. So you shouldn't call that a promotional lift. You should try to account for the fact that, yeah, you lowered the price. So that's all we're saying here is let's account for price. We can throw in price in our regression. We can throw in price in our regression. So here's price. The coefficient is negative and it's statistically significant while demand holds. The same interpretation for our dummies when all those are equal to 0. And when promotion is off, then we would have to, this should be non-promoted sales in January, but it should be like 17 something. But here we have it at 8,755 cases per week, but we know that they're only selling about 1,700 cases per week. What's the problem here? obvious problem. So remember what the constant represents. It represents the value of the dependent variable, Casey,
January.
when everything's set to 0. So we know it's January. We know it's not promoted, but why is it so high? We know we're not selling 8,755 cases in January. It's only about 1,700 cases. So it's when all of the independent variables are equal to 0.
So it's saying price is equal to 0?
Exactly. So it's saying that if price was equal to 0, we'd be, in January, off promotion, we'd be selling 8,700 cases. But we know price isn't equal to 0. So once we include price into the regression, it's also being set to 0 at that constant. So we really need to evaluate this at, for example, at the mean. And if we did that, we can do it using margins, for example. We end up getting the exact same results. So what did I have summarized price, which I really didn't have to do. But I summarized price. It looks like the average price is $9.20. And I'm going to evaluate at that price over each month for promoted and non-promoted volume. So the way that margins works, did you catch the margins coming by the way? Okay, so margins at a specific price and then over promoted, non-promoted volume and month, so by month. So the way, so again, this is a step forward. So this is at least acknowledging that yes, prices are different between promoted and non-promoted volumes, and we should always include price. So this is kind of one step forward, but we're still going to be wrong here. The way this works is you can clearly see the month: January, February, March, April, May, and these are all for non. So the first 12 are for non-promoted, and then it starts again January, February, March, April, May, and then the interaction with promoted. So these are your promoted volumes. Those are your non-promoted volumes, but they're evaluated at a specific price. And again, we could have picked any price. We just chose the average price. One way to get a picture of these, and this is a little bit trickier to do, but I'm going to try anyways. This is where Excel actually comes over here. And we're going to learn how to export this stuff pretty soon. For now, let's just stick with good old-fashioned copy and paste. Specifically, copy table and paste. All right. We don't need any of this stuff. We know that these first ones are non-promoted. And the second ones are promoted. And this is January. Will Excel? Yes. All right. insert, let's get a graph, bar chart. There we go. All right, this is, excuse me. These results are a little different if you notice. Do you notice from that first bar chart? We had some pretty significant increases. So Series 2 is promoted and Series 1 is non-promoted. I should put titles there. But notice that the promotional lift is a lot different here. So we're getting big lifts during the holidays, and October, November, December, our OND was our big time. But notice the lifts through the rest of the year are relatively modest. So I showed you how 99% of people do it. If we had some halfway decent people, and this is still wrong, halfway decent people, this is probably a closer way to do it. Another thing that you probably want to do is all right, so let's call this lift, and lift just equals this minus that. Yeah, we know that was negative, but it's still an artifact of the data. So graphing the lift is also nice, so that we don't have to kind of, in our heads, take the difference between the two. So this is literally graphing the difference, the actual. Which is kind of nice. We can move those. I would move these down if it was me. Let's see, format axes. Let's see, where do we go? Position next to axes. I want them. So this is literally our promotional lift. This one we know is probably an artifact of the data. These ones might be a little bit more problematic, in which our lift is showing up to be negative. Notice that we're getting tiny lifts here, but we're getting a big lift in our big time of the year, which is October, November, December. We can also do this in terms of percentages. So let's call this percent lift. And it would equal our lift over our non-promoted sales. That. Same graph, except now our we're just looking at percentages instead of, percentages are always, almost always better. Convert these to percentages. There are units, display units. But we can change that to percentage, we don't need to do that now. But three ways to show this. Showing the cases where the differences of the lift, showing the lift, or here we're seeing that in October, we're getting a lift of about 21, 22%. November, we're getting a lift of 60 some odd percent, which is still really good, by the way. And in December, we're getting a lift of about 40, 41, 42%. So all these are good. All these are, this is a move in the right direction. At least we're accounting for price in our regression, and our very simple regression, and we're getting very different results than we got in the first place, where we just kind of looked at case volume, which is how most people do it. But we still haven't acknowledged the fact that when we promote, we lower price, and that's going to create this mistaken, these mistaken results. So let's do an actual decomposition. So what we've done from up until now has been how most people do it in the industry. If they are doing a regression, they're probably doing it like this, and this is still probably wrong. This is still wrong, but this is another way of doing it. Let's use the decomposition. All right. Let's start decomposing. Yeah, export that to Excel. Decomposition. All right.